Good afternoon. I'm Kevin Walker with the Overland Park Chamber of Commerce. Today I'm representing the Johnson County Public Policy Council, which is a cooperative voter education effort by all of the Johnson County Chambers of Commerce. With me today is Patrick Hurley, who's running for Blue Valley School Board, Seat 2. Patrick, thanks for joining us. And before we get into our questions, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running for the Blue Valley School Board?
Great, thank you, Kevin. That's a really good question. I've been an attorney for over 25 years, so I certainly understand the operational side of the school district. I've worked in Topeka on education, finance, and funding for Governor Parkinson. Spent several years doing that. Also, I have been an elected school board member since 2015, and so there's been a variety of issues that have come up throughout that period of time. The school board has been dealing with a number of issues, but all very successfully. We've got great staff. Financially, the school district has an amazing process of making sure that the money is spent very well and fiscally responsible. For the amount of dollars that the school district gets at the end of the day, we do a really good job educating kids at all levels and helping them to be as successful as they want to be. I've lived in Overland Park with my wife since 1999, and went to Rockhurst University, and spent a little bit of time going to Shawnee Mission School District as a kid. And I've got one child in high school, and I just have one that recently graduated, and he's off in college, and he's adjusting well, and we're really proud of his accomplishments. But we understand how important the Blue Valley School District is for kids and the education that they receive.
Well, let's dig into our questions, and I'll start with a pretty broad one. As a candidate, what are your top 3 education policy issues?
Well, I think the first and foremost is going to be academic excellence. We've got a great community. We've got an engaged community. We are very efficient use with the tax dollars and the funds that we receive from the state and federal government. And so we want to continue that priority. We've got 23 perfect ACT test takers or scores this last semester. We've been named one of the top 5 best places to work in Kansas. We're in the top 1% of all school districts in the nation. We've been named the top school district in Kansas. And so that's something that's that just didn't pop up yesterday. It's several superintendents. I would say all of the living superintendents have contributed to the district's success over the years, and they've done it in lockstep, one after the other, building upon the successes. And we continue to believe that that's super important going forward. Children's educations are complicated. Kids learn at different rates, and making changes, radical or drastic changes, can negatively impact many kids' education. And so we want to systematically improve and assess and continue to improve, and that would be something that we need to continue to do today, tomorrow, and the next day, so that the kids that are in school today can have the same opportunities that we have had ourselves. The second priority is going to be safety and security. Obviously, every child needs to be comfortable in school. They need to be, obviously, their physical person needs to be safe. We've taken a lot of steps over the last years to improve that safety and those processes and those procedures to make sure that they are safe. We want to make sure that the learning environments are such that they're not being bullied, and that they have the opportunity to explore whatever they choose to explore, and to be successful in whatever they want to choose to be successful in. The third priority is fiscal responsibility. I commented on that a little bit ago. We've got the best financial team, I think, in the entire state in terms of how they manage the resources, what we spend the money on, and the overall the results that it produces. And so, I want to give hats off to the Blue Valley School District financial team. They do an amazing job. They've done an amazing job, and they will continue to do an amazing job. And so their efforts should be noted, that how that process works, and how they keep track of those funds, and where those funds are put, and how those funds go into the schools themselves. And that the idea is to get as many of those dollars into the classrooms as absolutely possible, at the same time achieving the results that we've achieved over the years.
And you mentioned funding, and we certainly can't talk about education without talking about funding. So what are your thoughts on K through 12 education funding right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to understand that, when you go back to the state's budget, it can be divided essentially into three categories: a third for operation, a third for roads, and a third for education. We've obviously got a constitutional mandate for the state to fund education. This is very critical to Johnson County. In terms of jobs, Johnson County is the economic engine. Good schools, great schools are key to bringing in new jobs, new businesses to the community. And without good schools, you're not going to have businesses continuing to come to the community. And so the funding is obviously critical. The thing to understand here is that special education mandate by statute is not being met by the Kansas legislature, and that needs to be met going forward. And I think that allows us the ability to address a number of our issues going forward. It's not a particularly large amount, but at the end of the day, it's enough that it has an impact on us. The district has its own set of unique characteristics that it doesn't share with other districts, and for that reason, we've been able to not receive as much federal dollars as the other districts in the state, but what we have been able to do is to produce really great results in terms of the academic excellence that we're pursuing. But that funding is absolutely critical and necessary going forward.
Well, in addition to funding, we also, I think, need to talk about accountability. And so, our education system does require accountability measures for student performance, and it's focused on post-secondary success and career readiness. Do you believe the district is meeting expectations for student achievement?
Yeah, I do. I mean, like I said previously, the district has been named the #1 school district in the state of Kansas. We had just this last year, we had almost 40% of the state's semifinalists for merit scholars, and so kids can be as successful as they want to be. We provide the tools, we provide the environments. It's simply an opportunity for kids to choose what they want to do, and ultimately there's obviously different types of assessments that we use. There's different programs that come out, and it's an ever-changing educational environment that we need to continue to assess and evaluate. What are the best learning tools, the best learning opportunities, and so that is one of our main focuses. And I'm sure there's going to be dips and peaks in any process going forward, depending on circumstances. But at the end of the day, our academic achievement is the best it's ever been, and it's the best in the state.
And it's no secret Kansas is experiencing low unemployment rates, and employers are struggling to find qualified workers. How do you see the school district helping to meet the business community's future workforce needs through work-based learning, such as internships, training, and other career exploration opportunities?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, Kevin. It's a partnership. The school district, the business communities, the parents, the people that don't have kids in the district, teachers, administrators, board members. It's all one big partnership, and we need to understand that we're educating kids to take that next step in their career, and that career could be many things. We've got a number of really great programs that we've started for career tech with Johnson County Community College, focused on providing opportunities within the communities for the businesses and for the kids, depending on the career they want to choose. It's educating kids on what's out there. I would see it very important to expand that as much as possible. We've kind of gotten through that initial round. Demand's really kind of filled up those classrooms, and I think it's time to take that next step. But at the end of the day, we've got CAPS, which has been a really great program that was developed multiple years ago by one of our superintendents, Tom Trigg, and that was put in place. We built a building. We have great partnerships with many of our business leaders and within the community. And that's one of those things that we need to continue to expand that, because at the end of the day, every parent wants their child to come back to this community, and that's the goal. Whether they stay here and have a career or whether they go off to college and come back, but the bottom line is every parent wants their child to come back here and live and have a life, and we need to make sure that there are jobs in this community for those kids to come back to.
I want to shift to a very different topic. What are your thoughts on efforts in the state legislature to expand school choice?
I really think that's a bad idea. We have a great public school system. We have a great history. We have a great legacy of public education in the state, and we need to continue that legacy, and we need to continue to support it because we know that it works, and that alternative will not work.
And my last question for you, other than funding, what do you see as the greatest challenge facing the district right now?
Well, I think obviously funding. I think there's a push out there to defund public education. I think that's a great challenge, and obviously hiring the best and retaining the best teachers. In recent years we've had a number of teachers leave the profession. I think that the legislature can step up to the plate and take actions to support the profession of teaching, to encourage programs or develop programs that encourage people to come to Kansas to be teachers, to go to college to go be teachers, students leave high school to go become teachers. I think there's an opportunity there, and I think it cannot be understated how important it is that we continue to encourage the teaching profession. We've got a number of great, fantastic teachers in the school district, but ever more we've seen a trend where there are less teachers going into the profession, and ultimately that's going to have a negative effect on the school district and the opportunities for student achievement. And so, those are really the two biggest ones. Is you said funding, but I think there's a counter to that, which is it's about defunding. So there's adequate funding, and then there's efforts to defund and take money away from the schools. But it's really about teachers, making sure that we have the teachers necessary to support our kids in their academic dreams and future.
Well, Patrick, I want to thank you for taking a little time to answer these questions. And before we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts you want to offer?
I think the right to vote is very important. It's part of our civic duty, and I want to encourage everybody to just go out there and make sure they vote in every election. This election in particular is very important. Our schools, our property values are at issue here. Jobs are at issue here, and so now's not the time for change or an experience. Now is the time for us to continue to build upon the successes of the past. Now is the time for us to make sure we embrace all children in the schools and provide those opportunities wherever they may be for them going forward. We need to continue to expand career tech programs. We need to continue to expand our CAPS program. We need to make sure people understand how of a significant impact that our public schools have on our community. Like I said, Johnson County is the economic engine for the state of Kansas, and the schools play a big part in that role. And I ask you to vote for the A+ team on November 7th, and that includes Jody Dietz, Jen Kessinger, Clay Norkey, and myself, Patrick Hurley, and I thank you for your time.
And let me just remind everybody that's watching this recording that advance voting in person begins on Saturday, October 28th, and Election Day is Tuesday, November 7th.